How do we know we're headed in the right direction? Life is full of choices. How do you know the right one to make? The choice one woman makes while walking alone in the American Southwest can serve as a great example for the rest of us in how to choose the right path to follow. Hi, I'm Ken from Rapid Start Leadership, where our goal is to help you learn leadership skills, build your influence, and make the world a better place through people. In Cheryl Strayed's book, Wild, there's a short, funny passage that's easy to miss, but I think it's full of wisdom that I want to share with you. Cheryl had a turbulent young life that included a broken family, poverty, and a brush with drug addiction. And when she lost her mother to cancer, Cheryl decided to try and break from her messy past and make a new start. To do this, she decides she's going to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, a 2,650-mile footpath that stretches from the U.S. border with Mexico all the way through California, Oregon, and Washington to where it ends at the Canadian border. She attempts this alone with almost no backpacking experience. As you might expect, she meets with adventure and plenty of challenges along the way. She writes about many of them in a captivating style, but it's a brief incident near the beginning of her hike that I think contains some of the deepest wisdom of the book. She's only 5 days into her journey through the southern deserts, and she hasn't seen another person in all that time. Still adjusting to the rigors of hiking long miles with an overloaded backpack, the heat is punishing, she's tired, and everything aches. She's also perhaps a little fearful. Earlier that afternoon, she'd spotted the paw prints of a mountain lion. The tracks had followed the trail she was on for a quarter mile before turning off. Cheryl remembered news articles she'd read of 3 different people killed by mountain lions just in the past year. She nervously sang songs out loud, hoping to scare off any nearby predators and calm herself at the same time. As the sun is lowering in the sky, she rounds a point in the trail, looks up, and comes face to face with an enormous brown horned animal bearing down on her. As a Minnesota girl, her first reflex is to cry out, "Moose!" even though there's no one to hear her shout. In the next instant, she scrambles off the trail into the scrub oaks and the tangled brush. Her heavy pack is making her feel as though she's moving in slow motion. At every step, her legs and arms are scratched by thorny branches. Still shouting, "Moose!" she grasps frantically for a yellow cord attached to her backpack that's supposed to keep a whistle within easy reach. Finally getting a hold of the lanyard and pulling the whistle into her hands, she hunkers down in the scrub, closes her eyes, and blows the whistle as long and as loud as she can. Eventually, she runs out of breath and stops blowing. She hears no sound, and panic begins to subside. As her mind slowly clears, she realizes that the correct name for the brown-horned animal was not moose, but bull. It was a Texas longhorn bull. These animals can weigh in over 2,000 pounds, and the distance between the tips of their horns can be as much as 8 feet. She was glad she did not get any closer to it than she did, but now she had a new problem. She gathers her courage and returns to the trail, but she has no idea if the bull went back where it came from, or if it had continued on down the path. The beast could be ahead of her or behind her, and she didn't know which. Every sound she heard terrified her, making her think the bull was coming back. She couldn't stay where she was. She had to choose a way to go. In thinking about the incident later, she observed that her predicament was like many things. It all boiled down to 2 simple choices: to continue forward or to retreat. Retreat had its enticements. The path was familiar. She knew exactly where it led. She didn't know if the bull was there, but at least there weren't any mountain lions. Continuing forward had its own risks, and quite possibly they were greater. But to progress, to achieve her goal, to shed the past she was trying to escape meant she had to go forward. As she said in her book, progress so often required her to do the things she least wanted to do. She summed it all up in 2 simple but moving sentences. I could only choose between the bull that would take me back and the bull that would take me forward. And so I walked on. Like Cheryl, it can seem like we're all walking on paths through the wilderness. And maybe there aren't mountain lions, or Texas longhorns, or even moose waiting to charge at us from the next corner. But there's still the unknown, and the unknown is risky. It makes us nervous. It makes us uncomfortable. And like Cheryl, retreat might seem safer, but it also means stagnating, walking that treadmill and not growing. To grow means accepting some discomfort, stepping forward into difficulty, and daring to do the things we might least want to. When these choices present themselves, I hope we always have the strength to do what Cheryl Strayed did. If you want to know which way to go, keep moving forward. I hope you've enjoyed this story and found some value that you can apply to your own decision making. If you're interested in more thoughts about why we need to embrace discomfort and 7 ways you can do so that will make you a better leader, check out this next video. I hope I've earned your subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Lead on.